So we're going to do a Would You Rather between Javonte Williams and Tony Pollard, names from the viewers here. Let's start with Javonte Williams. Kyle, what do you think about Javonte this year?
So, the way the draft went for the Cowboys, I actually like Javonte a whole lot more now than I did going into the draft. I was certain that they were going to end up drafting, an early running back that was going to take over that starting job, but they didn't. What they did was they drafted Jaden Blue, who is kind of the perfect complementary back for a Javonte Williams as a much faster, smaller type of guy. But Javonte's the starter there in that offense now, and behind that offensive line that we have, a lot of scoring opportunities there. I like that a lot. But then, you also have Jaden Blue, who could be that home run hitter in the passing game. I agree, Brent. Blue's going to be amazing. He's going to be the Pollard to Javonte's Zeke. Yeah, I know Javonte's not Zeke, but you see the dynamic I'm talking about there. I like Javonte a whole lot more now, knowing how that draft went.
Yeah, I think Javonte Williams has been written off too soon. I think he's still got quite a bit of talent. I think he's wildly underrated, and it's just kind of silly. Like, he got that major injury. When he came back, they worked him in very slowly. And, that's hard to kind of get back into a groove. Not only are you coming back off there, you have to get over it mentally, but then your coaches aren't letting you get over it mentally. And then you're just having to timeshare constantly, and you're like a 3-man rotation. I mean, what are you supposed to do there? So Javonte kind of getting second with the Cowboys has been really nice. I'm excited to see what that's like. I like Javonte Williams quite a bit. I liked him before he was with the Cowboys, so when we got him, I was pretty excited. I'm part of the team. Brent says, I do believe Javonte can reinvent himself. Yeah, he's a cheap buy. That's correct. And so we've got him. You've got Miles Sanders, who, fine, whatever. I mean, I'm not a big Miles Sanders fan. Maybe he'll be a little bit of a goal line back for us. I don't really know.
I think he'll be a pure backup.
Yeah,
third in the depth chart.
I could see Jaden Blue getting more playing time than Miles Sanders this year.
Yep.
Jaden Blue, I'm curious with his explosiveness, how the Cowboys are going to use him. I think it'll be really interesting. But I think he'll be used as more of a little scat back, tossing him the ball, because apparently he's really good at catching the ball and running with it. So a little bit of ball protection. But apparently Jaden Blue was their number 3 running back on their board. They had him as their number 3 running back, supposedly.
Because he does fit with Javonte. I think the Cowboys believe in Javonte too.
I agree.
But I don't know, is this a hot take? I think Phil Maffa, who we drafted late in the draft, I think he could end up with more playing time than Miles Sanders.
I actually agree with that too. I think Miles Sanders is probably the 4th best running back on this team, and even that might be a little bit. Do we put Deuce Vaughn ahead of Miles Sanders? I mean, Miles Sanders just getting passed around. The Eagles didn't believe in him. He got a little bit more time with the Panthers there, but now we just kind of got him on the cheap. But I think Blue, and I also agree that Maffa's probably better. So all that being said, I like Javonte. I like the opportunity. I think he's a buy low, and I think you can get him late in drafts. Just great value in a draft for this guy, and I think you can buy him pretty cheap in Dynasty too.
Yeah, so you can get him real cheap. If you bought him before the draft, you got him even cheaper. But like you said, he had that year with that knee injury. The year after that's always rough coming back from those. Then last year, you can't mentally prepare when you don't know who's starting every week. Like too much rotation there with the running backs in Denver last year. None of them got in a groove really. So yeah, I just think new situation, new team, new offensive line, new lease on life. He's still young too.
Yeah.
He's only 25 years old. Like, his career's far from over.
Absolutely.
Remember how much people were touting him coming out of college? Is that sure he had a knee injury, but like that didn't end his career.
But you would have thought it did.
You would have thought it did. You would have thought somebody, Sean Payton, took him out behind the barn and shot him.
All righty, let's move on to Tony Pollard. To contrast Javonte Williams here, Tony Pollard ended up taking over more of the backfield last year than I expected him to. I guess, I didn't expect him to get that kind of workload or see that kind of experience or that kind of workload there. Geez, man, I need to sleep more. I can't even. That kind of success experience. No, that kind of success. It did help that Tajay Spears was out a lot with injuries. He missed quite a few games. That helped open up the production for Tony Pollard to kind of take over the backfield and keep a hold of that. I do think Tajay Spears eats into that more this year. I don't think Tony Pollard, if Spears stays healthy, I think that Pollard loses that volume some this year. Plus, there's just a lot of question marks around that offense. Are we convinced that Cam Ward starts as the quarterback over Levis
100%
in the game one?
Yep, 100%.
I think so too, and that makes me a little nervous having a rookie quarterback back there, but there is upside because he's mobile. And again, I think that helps running backs in my opinion. So I like the backfield for both of these guys to have some success this year, but I think they're going to be splitting it more than we like, and it's going to be a real headache for fantasy owners.
Yeah, I agree. And before I give my assessment on Pollard, I want to give a shout out over here in the chat to the Rent app guys. They were in Nashville when we went out there for the draft. Great guys, great app. Definitely
great sponsor. Appreciate him for sponsoring.
Sponsor. Thank you guys. I had such a blast talking to you guys out there and everything. Definitely viewers, go check out the Rent app. It's amazing.
Yep.
So thank you guys thanks for stopping in too and saying hey.
Yeah, for sure.
So Pollard for me is kind of similar, not quite there yet, but similar to the James Conner situation we were talking about in the last part. Like, he's getting a little bit older. The workloads are, there, but Tajay Spears sitting in the wings. If he can stay healthy, which that was kind of a major ding on him coming out of college anyways, was the knee issues and could be a injury risk. Well, we saw that this year kind of manifest. But if he can stay healthy, he is a pretty significant risk to Pollard's workload because that kid's good. And so, to me, I think there's a lot more risk of Pollard losing work to Spears than like a Javonte losing work to a Blue or a Miles Sanders.
Agreed. No, I totally agree with that. I think Spears is a way bigger threat to that workload than Javonte has from any other running back in his backfield.
I love Spears. He looks amazing when he plays, when he's healthy.
Yeah, does really well. My question also is, which offense do you think will be in scoring position more often? Tennessee or Dallas?
Cowboys, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I think that Cowboys offense is going to be
as long as Dak stays
in position more too. So
as much as I don't believe in Dak as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, the offense can move the ball when he's on the field a whole lot better than when he's not. So as long as Dak stays healthy, we'll have a whole lot more scoring opportunities for those running backs.
I agree. So, okay. You want to go ahead and vote then really quick? Do you have anything else to say on either of them before we vote?
Nope.
All righty. We're going to vote 1 for Javonte or 2 for Pollard. And we're going to do redraft first. All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, let me get Pollard's name off of here so that it doesn't look like that we're actually
sort of biased out there.
Yeah, I don't want to bias any decisions here. All righty, on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Okay, is our Cowboys bias showing, or what's going on here? No, I think we just talked about all of the points. That's kind of why I went straight to the vote here, because I feel like we were starting to talk on it, that he has more of a workload. They'll be in scoring position more often, and they're working on their offensive line. They concentrated on the draft. I think that's really going to help. And as long as Dak stays healthy, it's hard to predict injuries. So we're relying on Dak staying healthy. But if we were voting for Pollard, we'd be relying on him to stay healthy. Maybe Tajay Spears getting hurt. So
yeah,
it's really hard to predict. So in a perfectly healthy world, I'm definitely going with Williams over Pollard here.
I agree. And over in the chat, Joe can get the frick out of here with that number 2 vote.
What the frick? I don't think it's a bad vote. I understand where he's coming from, but especially like the recency bias, right? What have you done for me lately? Well, Pollard had a much better season than Williams has ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, but I don't think Williams has been in the best situation ever. This could be a resurgence, kind of like we saw, and this might be a little too extreme, but you see Baker Mayfield not doing great. You finally get him on a team that's worth a damn, and all of a sudden he can produce. And this could be the same. This could be funny. I mean, the same thing could happen for Javonte. I mean, he can just get on the right team and just be relevant all of a sudden. I mean, honestly, Pollard didn't have much success with the Cowboys. He just wasn't that great, honestly. But
he wasn't the right kind of running back.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not a workhorse running back. That's why last year shocked me so much that he got that kind of workload and had that kind of success, because he just, I don't know, he doesn't feel like that type of running back to me. It's weird, but
no, I agree.
Here we are.
Rusty on our side there. Rusty knows what's up.
Rusty knows what's up.
Joe's drinking. No, he's sleep deprived. Joe's got a little baby at home, and he's lacking on sleep, so he's just not thinking straight. And it's okay. I don't blame him there. Been there, done that. So all the reasons we just named there, we're going with Javonte and redraft. All right, let's do for Dynasty. Let's vote for Dynasty then really quick. Okay?
Do we need
to? No. I mean, not really. We don't have to. I'm also going Javonte there. I'm assuming you're going the same.
100%. For everything we said, plus age, which I actually did already mention also, but it's just, it makes so much more sense to take the young guy with a chance behind this offensive line, with this team, with this offense, versus a guy 3 years older with a young buck coming up behind him that can take the workload from him. Makes sense to me.